Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. All right, so we are going to kick it off with the weekly charts, and then we are going to transition into the daily time frame after that. And then we can take a look at the lower time frames and really see what's going on. Then we'll take another look at Bitcoin and see how that ended up turning out yesterday. All right, so we do have SPY coming into the last major low, which was 431.19. So there is still a chance that this whole correction could just be a higher low along this aggressive uptrend. Doesn't have to be that way, but until this level is lost, that's exactly how I'm going to be looking at it. That's how we are looking at it up here. That's how we're looking at it right now. It very well could do something like that, or it could just come on with a lower high and then come back to the neckline here, and then we have a pretty sick looking head and shoulders formation. So I really do think we're going to get a strong bounce from this 431.19 level, if not a little lower, somewhere in this zone. And then we either set up for a lower high, or we go up and take out the high, or we get a double top. You got three scenarios there, but those are it. Over here on QQQ, I am going to point out you did stall out right on the week, right here on the 357.59 support. You did lose it on Friday, and then you reclaimed it by the end of the day. I will point out you have increasing sell volume on every single index here, on SPY, on QQ, on DIA, on IWM. So these bearish candlesticks, they do come with confirmation through that volume. So I will just tell you, either we have people panic selling or sellers are looking to push it lower. Regardless, it is confirmed underneath this 357.59 level. The next one is all the way down at 348.18, which is a $10 drop from here. So I am just going to point this out. If QQQ decides to go down there, it's very likely that SPY sets up a lower low here compared to over here, and then we come back and do something like this, come up for a lower high, and then we probably would be continuing lower. We're going to have to see how things play out. That is how we do it on this channel. We play things level by level, and as of right now, we have these key levels to be paying attention to: 431.19 on SPY, and on QQQ 357.59. And if this is lost, that is when I say we are likely going to come down to 348. Now, I will come over here to DIA and point out I have not changed the arrow. This is exactly what we were looking for. We were looking for a back test of this breakout zone right here, which was your neckline of this larger inverse head and shoulders. How long did this take to form here? Guess what? It took 7 months. Do you really think it's just going to, play out with 4 weeks out of this pattern and then come back into it? I don't. I think it's very likely that we have a successful back test here and go on a bit higher. Coming over here to IWM, the next level you are going to be watching is 180.37. You did not hold IWM's breakout, so that is something to be noted. But then again, you didn't hold SPYs, you didn't hold QQQs. The only one that is holding as of right now is DIA. So that is what we're paying attention to. But over here on IWM, you got nothing to worry about as long as you hold this 180.37 level. I will put something on your radar though. What if you come down, tap that level, get a bounce for a few weeks, have a lower high compared to over there, and then boom, you come back to the neckline, break it. And what would that do? If you breaking it, would put a low in, a lower high in, and then guess what? You would now have a lower low. So you would have a confirmed downtrend. So that is a possibility that we have to be watching out for. I'm going to take this off though, because I don't think that is what is going to be happening. I will point out this 197 to 200 zone. You can really bring it all the way up here because you can see sellers got up there. But for now, we will just be paying attention to this. This is where you have a triple top going on. Now your neckline is going to be all the way down here. So I don't think you're going to come down and smash a neckline. You also do have like a triple bottom. You have here, here, and then you have your higher lows here. And you also have 1, 2, 3 right there. So you have like a triple bottom inside of an ugly triple bottom. Regardless, you're in this massive range here. So I would be playing the range until that range is broken. So if you're taking longs, maybe look to scale out up here and then, look to scale back in if you get a breakout. But until that happens, I'm just pointing it out. IWM could just be complacent here. Now, I will actually, while we're on the weekly charts, I will actually show you guys what I see over here on Microsoft. Now, I didn't just draw this arrow. I drew this arrow, I think it was on this week right here. And I did point out we could just have a massive break and retest going on here, and then we could continue back up. Now, again, same scenarios as I was just showing you on the indices. We could be going up for a lower high, or we could come out and take out these highs. I have absolutely no idea. You have absolutely no idea. What is important is if we just pay attention to, or is that we just pay attention to what's going on with the price and the price action. We got to see what gets confirmed, what doesn't. We go level by level. Why? Because, until things change, we have no reason to change our tone. I will point out you have decreasing sell volume here 3 weeks in a row, marked by this high volume that marked your top. So that is something to point out. And guess what? You do have the shooting star candlestick. That is something we pointed out across the board. You come over here to Apple and you had this same one over here. All right. A bunch of them were having these, Google did not. Google had explosive earnings a while back, but a bunch of them just ended up having bearish candlesticks. And I guess it was just Apple and Microsoft. I think Tesla might have as well. But then you also had this going along with it with QQQ. And then over here on SPY, you had this going on. So yeah, I mean, we were open to the pullback. Now that pullback has fully happened. This was a level 431.19 on SPY that we were saying, hey, if you lose 438, we'll go over the daily charts right now in a sec. But we were saying, hey, if you lose 438, the next level is going to be 431. And that is why we play things level by level. We have no reason to do anything else. All right, stepping over to the daily charts. And I will start off here with SPY. I will point out, yeah, you did not hold the gap fill. We said the next level is going to be 438. Guess what? You did not have buyers stepping at 438. You had impulsive selling around that level. And guess what? We were then looking for 431.19 to be tapped. Now, I'm not saying we go straight down there, but I am saying now that we're underneath 438, that is the next level. So it is still completely on the table. And I'm going to point out a scenario that could be playing out here. We could get a bounce back up to the 443 to 444 zone up there, which aligned with this gap fill, but was also your breakout zone. So you definitely have a lot of buying and selling going on at this level. Boom, buyers. You have buyers right here. All right, you have sellers right there, sellers right there. So that's your battleground. I think it's very likely that we revisit that zone, even if we do end up going lower. So let's just mark that out. It would be somewhere right around there, 444 to 443. That is what you're paying attention to. A very likely spot that we could get that lower high and then continue lower. Now, I will point out you had increasing buy volume over here. And let me just come over here, put on the Bollinger Bands. I'm going to go a little like that. And I will point out you have been riding this lower Bollinger Band for quite some time now. I think we got like 8 trading sessions. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 trading sessions that we have just been riding the lower Bollinger Band. You gapped down underneath it on Friday. And then you also closed underneath it. And then pair that with what we got going on over here on the RSI. I'm going to put a horizontal line there, and I'm going to show you. This is the same spot that you bottomed over here in March. And we had the same condition in March. You gapped below the lower Bollinger Band, and then, you closed, underneath it. So that is something I want to point out. We have the same conditions going on the Bollinger Band and the RSI here. It's at the same spot. And let me just show you what level we are at. We're at 35 on the RSI. We hit a low of 34. During this day, you did hit a low of 33. So I thought we were going to go down there and mark a bottom that day. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be your bottom, but I am saying we have oversold conditions over here on SPY. You got very close to here. You could see the buyers stepped up. They are defending this 431.19 level, which doesn't, that's the exact level we're watching, but it's honestly anywhere around here. This is where people want to be taking their longs. The risk to reward is better on the long side when you're down here. I would not be taking any new money shorts down here. There'd be absolutely no reason to take new shorts down here after you fell $30. If you wanted to do that, the day was over here. Now, I hesitated on taking shorts because, aggressive uptrend, but I am going to point out right here, this is when the channel was completely open to putting in a trend change. Then you came up, you got a lower high going on right here, and then you broke it. So right around this candlestick right here, that's when we knew, hey, trend was completely changed. Now, on QQQ, we got confirmation of that on that day over here on SPY. So we got confirmation of QQQ's downtrend on this day right here. So that is when we were open to seeing lower prices there. And again, I'm going to point out you are $30 underneath the high. I do not think you should be taking, well, you could do whatever you want with your money, but I do not think it's wise to be taking shorts as you just fell off a cliff $30. I would not call it a crash still. All right. We did not really get, too much selling. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, we had the catalyst, the downgrade of the U.S. credit. And back in 2011, when that did take place, you had a 7% down week on the S&P 500. We got nothing of the sort. We got a 2% down week, followed by a 0.26% down week. And then we have our 0.2, or not 0.2, we have a 2% down week. So I can't call that a crash. I'm going to, not switch my tune on that one. You guys can look at this a crash, but what I will say is I think this was a correction in the broader uptrend. Now that could be completely wrong, and we could come up here and get a lower high somewhere. All right, it really just I'm just going to point out, I mean, the last major high was over here, so you haven't had a counter trend rally to really put in another high. So I'm going to point out we can come back to this gap fill at 380 and then still continue lower. But guess what? I think just like SPY, QQQ over here has the same conditions. You gapped underneath the lower Bollinger Band. You closed underneath it as well. Now that we know that, let's take that out and let's focus on the RSI here. The RSI is all the way down to 35, just like SPY. Where was that? That was the exact spot. You had the December bottom. What candlestick is this? It's this bad boy right here. What happened after that? You put in a higher high, higher low, and then let me just put in a line there and let me show you what took place. Boom. All right, you got your breakout, retest. Right here on the channel, you're going to hear me calling out a lot of break and retest setups. That is my preferred setup. So I'm just going to point out, all right, guys, we clearly have oversold conditions, and these conditions are the same that marked bottoms on SPY and QQQ. Now, we can come back into the bear market, and even when you're down here, this is where you got your aggressive bear market rallies. Eventually, you did end up just, you had this really aggressive bear market rally after you put in a larger bullish divergence going on right there. But I'm going to point out that the RSI on most of these is right where we are right now. You have this one going on in December. You have this one over here in October. This is where you put in your absolute low, your major low. And then you have this one going on right here. Let me just, now keep in mind, volatility was up. The VIX was, it was elevated the whole year. So, I mean, these moves are on the table. I don't think it, 7% counter trend rally here. Oh, we could get it. I did just point out we could go all the way to 380.69, that gap fill up here, and still put in a lower high. But I think it's much more likely we're going to do something like this if we do end up, establishing an uptrend. I think there you go. I think we would probably put in a high followed by a higher low, and then you would break that for the higher high by the time we got there. So, that would be something to pay attention to. Now, on the weekly chart, we could see things change. That is where we could be open, even if that scenario I just laid out on the daily chart does happen. That is where we can see something like this, and then effectively on the weekly time frame, you'd have a low, you have your lower high compared to this one over here, and then you'd have a lower low. So that, there you go. No fake outs over there. So we do pay attention on this channel to the daily chart throughout the week. And then, obviously we're going over in this video, but on the weekly updates, we try and focus on the weekly charts because that is the macro perspective. And why not have that in the back of your mind so you do not get faked out? All right. Come back over to the daily time frame. You did not have that increasing volume. You still had high volume on the day, but it was not as pretty as over here on SPY. Now, I do apologize. My candlestick is red. It should be green. We had these big green days across the board. IWM's RSI did end up coming all the way down to 31. Intraday over here, it was lower than 30, so I do want to point that out. We did reach the oversold condition on the RSI, which has marked, again, major lows over here. You did have this bullish divergence, but before you did end up doing that, let's just see from this candlestick to this candlestick. Oh, what is that? A 5% day there. All right. So, well, not 5% day, but from low trough to peak. There you go. And then you come over here. That marked your bottom over there. That marked your bottom. Keep in mind, guys, it's your bear market. Now, again, very volatile moves over here. VIX was elevated. We'll be talking about that in a sec here. But I do want to point out IWM, guys, I think is going to, I think this thing is probably going to have a decent bounce coming out from where it is. It is the most oversold. And yeah, that is that. So All in all, guys, I'm looking for either this to take place, us going lower down to this level, start off, and then we have a large bounce out of that, maybe all the way up to our 450, 155 level, or I'm looking for this scenario to play out. Now, could I be completely wrong about this? Yeah. All right. This is just where, if we're going to put in a lower high, I think it's highly probable we do over here on SPY, since this was the heavily traded zone, your breakout zone, your gap fill zone, whatever you want to refer to it as. This is the heavily traded zone. This is going to be your battlefield. And that is where, if sellers are going to step in, they likely do step in. If not there, then we do have 451 or this gap fill all still on the table. You still do have the last major high going on right here. Yeah, you have these little ones. I'm just going to point it out. So you have a low, you have a high, you have a low, you have a high, you have a low, you have a high. But how I look at these things is this is on the hourly time frame. This is your downtrend in the hourly time frame, not on the daily. You don't really have any clear as day swing high over there on the daily time frame. You do over here, however, on the lower time frame. So that is something to note. That is not how I, if you're going to be following along with me on the channel, that's not how I look at things. The last major high was over here. The last major low we have right here, if this turns out to be the low. Just like over here was a clear as day low. Over here was your clear as day high, clear as day low. All right. High. All right. So I just want to point that out. Just like QQ, we really can have quite a rally here without breaking the downtrend. So that is something to take note of. But if you do get this scenario going on right here, maybe you get rejection here, you come down back to the 438 level, or even come down here for a double bottom, and you get a higher low, and then you break that, that is going to confirm you now have your uptrend. But again, we want to see those clear as day swing lows and swing highs. All right, we do want to see those, and until we see those, it's not safe to just, like I'm not gonna lie, all right, I'm gonna be trying to bottom fish over here, but I'm gonna tell you guys, like, you want to see the higher low followed by the higher high. You want to see that happen. But I'm just going to also point out, if we do end up doing something like this, I think we put in a bullish divergence, and that would be something like that. And that would be marking your major bottom, and then it would be going up. Now, again, can I be completely wrong? Yeah, I can be completely wrong. All right, I really can, but I am going to put this on the chart, and we're just going to point out where you are right now. All right, where is that? We are in, well, you're not quite to the golden pocket, but you are pretty close to there. And bring it all the way over here and there. Okay, so this is what I was trying to point out, right? I did the wrong swing low there, right? But again, you want these clear as days lows. You had these consolidation points, and then boom. This is 100% what I was trying to point out on the first one, all right? You're at the 0.786 fib. So I think we had a lot of, confluence here between oversold indicators. All right, you had the Bollinger Band, you had the daily RSI getting all the way down here. Again, marked your March low, mark this rally right here. Let me just point this out. All right, right here, this is where literally what marked your bottom. Now, did you have a triple bullish divergence going on here? Yeah, you did. All right, but you also had this. This is in the bear market, guys. This isn't now. This is in the bear market, not with an aggressive uptrend, which I'm just going to remind everyone here on the channel. Does this look anything like this? Does this look anything like this? This bear market rally you had going on over here that then led to new lows. This bear market rally over here that led to new lows. No, it does not. I'll answer for all of us. It doesn't at all look like this. This is a very long, if you're going to call it a bear market rally, all right? This is first of all, massive rally, but it's also lasted 21 weeks, all right? 21 divided by 4, guys, that's 5 months. It's lasted 5 months. Did we have any of these things lasting 5 months? No, you didn't. All right. This was 2 months over here. This is 5 months. On top of that, what did we also do that we couldn't do over here? You had your major high, major high. All right. Major high, major high. Guess what? Bear market rallies did not take out the major highs. All right. They didn't take out the previous major high. Guess what? You have your major high followed by a major low. All right. What is that? A higher low compared to over here. And then as of right here, this is when you broke out. And now we're in an uptrend, like on the weekly time frame, so the larger scale time frame. So I do want to point out, all right, if you are still thinking that this is just a bear market rally, I suggest you just take a step back and just review what we just took a look at, maybe one more time if you really want to, because this is very clearly not a bear market rally. I don't think anybody can tell me or you or anybody else that it is a bear market rally. All right. What I will say is we're having this correction, but do you see anything opposite that's going on here to here? Yeah, you kept making lower lows followed by these lower highs. You would have these rallies, but you stayed in this macro downtrend. All right. You had like 3 cycles here, which I'm just going to point out in terms of Elliott wave. Don't you have a 1, you have a 2, you have a 3, you have a 4, you have a 5. All right. Guess what? All right. I think this played out. I think we now are, we're in a larger scale uptrend. We can continue this pullback. But again, I mean, hey guys, I don't think we're coming back down to these lows. I don't think it's going to happen until like much later. Yeah, the system's screwed. All right. It really is. But do we have any reason to take a large bet on, or any bet at all, on the system completely collapsing? No, guys. If it's a giant Ponzi scheme, let it be a giant Ponzi scheme. That is all I'm saying. If you know it's a giant Ponzi scheme and they just keep doing the money printer thing, if they just keep doing it, why would, like, whenever they let the thing go kapooey, all right, they're going to have to do it again. And if you know in the background that they can't do it again, why are they going to stop right now? That's what I want to remind everyone. Like, so if you're like a perma bear betting on that, and I don't want to call anybody a perma bear, but if you think it's a bear market rally, you are a perma bear. There's no denying. I was a perma bear at one point, and then we smashed this, and I was like, oh Jesus, gotta start switching my tune. That's gonna be rough. All right. I don't remember exactly where it was over here on SPY. I remember QQQ. I remember trying to short this thing, and I was just getting furious. And then he broke out right here. And I was like, oh, there's no denying it. There's no denying it at all anymore, right? Yeah, this is exactly the point. I held short into 330. It was this zone right here. And, guys, like, there's no denying. We are in a clear as day uptrend. Now, you are seeing this large-scale pullback, but you even come over here, all right, in your aggressive bull market going on over here from COVID lows to early 2022. Guess what? This is exactly where the RSI found its bottoms, and then you just continue on to new highs. So, guys, we are very close to those all-time highs. If you were buying up here without a pullback, right, I don't know what to tell you. I think this was the pullback that a lot of people were waiting for. Now, I personally was, I didn't think we were going to get this large of a pullback, but this is exactly, what marks these bottoms. So that's what I want to make very clear in here. Now we're going to take the second to last stop. We're going to go over Bitcoin. But VIX over here, guys, let's just look at where VIX's RSI was. Now intraday, this thing did get all the way up to 68, 69. It was all the way up here. And I was watching this 20, I think it's 20.05 is the exact level, but regardless, $20 level. And I'm just going to point out, you now do have a shooting star candlestick over here, or inverted hammer, whatever you want to look at this as. It's a bearish candlestick. Your RSI is in the same spot that we were warning, like, hey, all right, every single time this thing gets up here, you don't have more than a few trading sessions where you just stay up here. Now, you did, like, even over here. This was like not the COVID panic. This was the interest rate panic. This was the, we're going into a bear market panic, which is right here, end of 2021. You still didn't manage to stay above here, all right? I'm guessing you had an aggressive counter trend right here, and that's when VIX pulled back massively here. I wish we had high VIX days again. That would be pretty cool, because then even the counter trends would just be absolutely massive. We'd get those 7% counter trends. Regardless, guys, you don't stay up here, all right? You have one occurrence. You have two occurrence. You have 3. You have 4. You have 5. You have 6. You have 7. You have 8. You have... We're not going to even count this. You have 9, you have 10, you have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You have 16 total occurrences here. And guess what? You had one here that lasted like a little while here, right? You didn't have too many, but like less than a week, you lasted above that level, right? Or around this level. And then you completely cooled off. All right. And that's when, you put in your top over here and you had your counter trend rally. And I'm guessing this was the first, bear market, dump. But then guess what? The only other time out of 16 occasions, and we didn't even include this. So including these two, you have 18 occasions, but 16 out of those 18 times, unless you were in full on panic mode, you did not see this. So unless the market was actually starting to crash, you didn't see VIX sustain this. And I'm going to take a bet that the market is not about to crash. It's like I said, if it's a giant Ponzi scheme, why are they going to let it die now? Very close to all-time highs. That is not something you see in a bear market. All right. Now, coming over here to the bit of corn is going to be the last stop of the day. I am going to point out on the 4-hour time frame, you do have a bullish divergence going on over here. What do you also have? You have this doji candlestick. I actually pointed this out to Discord over here. I was like, I used this exact candle, and I was like, bullish divergence, and we had this hammer candlestick forming. So I was like, I think we have a bottom forming here on Bitcoin, and it looks like we did end up making a higher low here, and then guess what? You're off to the races. So above right here, mark that out. All right, above right there, that is when we're looking for Bitcoin to start its reversal. Now, I did take advantage of Riot. I did point that out, and I think it was Thursday's video. Riot over here, guys. I think this is a massive, or it was Friday's video. It was one of the two. Regardless, your boy took advantage of this one, and if you guys did, congrats. I think it's going to be a congrats. I'm not sure. We can go lower, but as I'm pointing out here on Bitcoin, guys, we have conditions that we have reversed off of in the past, and these reversals have not been small reversals. All right, hit this over here. You had a very large rally within days. All right, within 2 trading sessions, you went up 20, almost 25% there. All right, you have this going on over here. Well, what was this? All right, you did very quickly. All right, go up about 15%, and then within a few trading sessions, all right, 18. So that's 3 weeks right there. You did end up 2.5. You went up 34%. So I'm sure Riot over there and Mara had these massive rallies during that time. I will also say RSI oversold over here on Mara. Riot, it's even lower. It's at 26 right now. So I do think we're probably going to get a large rebound here on these miners over here, because Bitcoin is likely also about to get that rebound. Now, I will point out, we're getting that larger scale correction. I literally pointed out right here, I think it was in Thursday's video, these, rallies here, they're getting less and less. All right, you had this big one, still had pretty big one there. All right, and then you had the small one, and you barely took out this high. Compared to over here, you barely took out the high, which is, we actually, we reminded you guys of this right here. All right, we compared this to this going on over here. You can see I still got the circle up there. So I don't know if that is going to be what happens, and Bitcoin's about to start its massive bull run. I have absolutely no idea. But I will point out, I think we are very likely putting in at least a short-term bottom here, and maybe we come back up here, test this trend line. We're going to have to see what happens. You have 3 strong touch points right there. Then you slice through it, maybe come back and retest it and reject off, and then take that low, and then maybe we come all the way down to 24.6K. We'll call it around 25. Let's actually make that a round number there. All right, we'll just go like that. So maybe we do something like this. All right, and then maybe that ends up putting a bullish divergence on the daily RSI or something, and then we see a rally. Regardless, I think Bitcoin's about to have that pop, and that is something I want to make very clear. All right, you have on the daily time frame, RSI hit a low of 20. You have on the 4-hour time frame, you got this bullish divergence going on here, as well as this doji candlestick that marked the bottom. And if you take a scale down, or take a look down to the smaller scale time frames over here on the hourly chart, you do see hammer candlestick, pin bar, bullish candlestick, signal bar with this triple bullish divergence going on. I think we very likely have a short-term bottom. All right, with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Holy Jesus, look at that. Let's just look at how much this thing, holy sweet baby Jesus, all right? Is a large move if you get the rebound, a full-on rebound on Sir Bit of Corn, all right, is likely to bring these guys back up to where they were, or at least, let's just put on a golden pocket here. All right, where would our golden pocket be? Right here, all right? So anywhere from 18.50 down to 17 bucks. Now, how big of a rebound is that? Boom, 50%, 70%. I don't know. I'll take it. All right, with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.